If you're feeling stuck in your jewelry business, it's probably because you're making some of these excuses. So, today we're going to talk about that. I'm going to address all of the things I've heard over the years about why someone can't do this as a profitable full time or part time business. All right. Hello, jewelry friends. My name is Desiree, and you already know I am your jewelry reselling bestie. And because I am your jewelry reselling bestie, that means that I need to keep it real and we need to talk about some of the excuses that could be holding you back from having the jewelry business that you want to have or making the money that you want to make as a jewelry reseller. Now, I have heard a lot of these excuses over the years, like I've said, and I want to tell you that that's all they are, excuses. And a lot of times when we are doing this for the first time, or maybe we don't have a lot of experience, or maybe we're just trying to figure out, how we can make this work, or maybe we're kind of battling our own things inside of our head. Whatever the situation or the reason is, I'm going to address some things that I think hold a lot of people back because so many people say, oh, I want to sell jewelry. Oh, I love jewelry. Oh, I really think I could do this as a business, but, and then fill in the blank. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to tackle the top excuses that I believe are holding you back in your jewelry reselling business. And I'm going to be totally transparent and let you know that I have also identified or, claimed some of these excuses myself. I'm not perfect and I am not immune to the fears and the struggles and the challenges that go along with doing exactly what we do. All right. So before we get into that, I just want to remind you that if you head on over to our website, which is jewelryresellerspodcast.com, over there you can opt into our newsletter where you can receive a free downloadable copy of the 20 best-selling vintage jewelry brands that I think all resellers should know. This is a document that I created from my own experience as well as my own research, and I would love to give it to you for free. All right, so all you got to do is head on over to the website. Again, that's jewelryresellerspodcast.com. Also, I have a link in the show notes. So if you are watching or listening to this, I do have a link available for you there as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get into today's topic because I'm really fired up, if you can't tell, as it relates to this stuff, because I have been going through my own personal growth journey. And you know how when you are focused on, being the best version of yourself and trying to improve areas of your life, um, everything kind of is interconnected in the sense of when you work on your personal life, things in your business life improve as well, and vice versa. And when you focus on being the best version of who you are, you tend to get really realistic and you are forced to really look at your beliefs, your thoughts, your behaviors, and what is really fueling what you do or what you don't do in your life and in your business. All right. So I want to kind of give you a holistic approach to tackling some of these excuses because it's not really only about what you're choosing to do or not do in your business. It really kind of filters down to who you are as a person and what you believe about yourself. And so when you have a really strong self concept, then that belief carries over into other areas of your life. But today we're going to focus on our business. We're going to focus on our responsibility and our role as a jewelry seller or a jewelry reseller. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into this because, like I said, I mean, a lot of this is confidence. That's probably the most obvious answer. But again, I think a lot of this has to um, like we have to realize that yes, confidence is one thing, but it's also about making conscious choices and being intentional with what exactly it is we're trying to do, what we are meant to do, what we are purposed to do. All right. And I'm not trying to get too, woo woo or spiritual. But like I said, what I have learned is that when I focus on these things, just when I'm trying to be better, a better me, then everything else in my life improves as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So, one of the excuses that I have heard over the years, and I think I have 17 of them, and I'm going to tackle all of them. All right, so we're going to see how a lot of these excuses really do not have a place in our business. All right, excuse number one is I'm afraid to raise my prices, or I'm afraid to, charge more because I want to make the sale. Now, I get it. That's really the name of the game here, right? We're trying to offer our jewelry pieces at the most competitive price. But I have been, victim of this too, where I have underpriced my jewelry, or I have accepted lower prices because I felt like, well, I need the money, I need to make it. And we really don't want to get into a habit of doing that, all right? Because what you do and your jewelry has value. Now, I'm not saying ask for, pie in the sky prices, but don't settle for underselling yourself or your jewelry just because you're afraid to lose the sale. All right. And buyers really do value your experience, the quality. And if they are only looking for cheap stuff, then maybe that's not your particular buyer. Okay. It's just something to think about. All right. Excuse number two is I don't know enough about jewelry. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this. Even I have said this from time to time because I don't know everything there is to know about jewelry. This is also what people call imposter syndrome, where you really doubt and you second guess yourself and you think, oh, I don't know enough. I'm not experienced enough. I don't have enough, whatever. I don't have a big enough following. Nobody knows me. All of these things, right? And what you really have to understand is that everybody started off as a beginner, and there is something that you can bring to the table as it relates to adding value as a jewelry reseller. All right, so focus on learning, growing, increasing your confidence, and you don't have to know everything there is to know about jewelry. You can learn on a piece by piece basis. That's what I did. That's what I continue to do. All right. So don't feel like you have to know everything and anything there is or there is about jewelry. You just don't. All right. Okay, excuse number three. I'm afraid to invest in higher end pieces because they won't sell, or I'll have a hard time selling them, or I will hold on to them for so long, or I don't know if anybody's going to want to buy that or spend that much. All right, so having a fear of spending money or investing money into your business is huge. And, maybe not all of us are at the same place as it relates to investing into our business with higher end jewelry pieces. But you have to understand that the more that you are willing to invest, the higher profits you are going to make. Now, it does take time for you to get to this point and to feel, comfortable doing that. But, again, I think this is something where it doesn't have to define the inventory you buy, and it doesn't have to define what type of business that you have. All right. And this is something that you can grow into. You don't have to do it right away. All right, the next excuse is I can't keep up with the competition. Well, I'm going to share a revelation, friends, and you don't have to keep up with anybody. You're not in competition with anybody other than yourself as it relates to your business. Now, sure, there are tons of jewelry resellers on every single platform, but that doesn't mean that we are in direct competition with them because, for the most part, a lot of us don't carry the same exact inventory. We don't live in the same parts of the world or the country or wherever. And all of us bring something unique to the table as it relates to the type of inventory that we're sourcing, or maybe our experience, or maybe our knowledge, or maybe our personality and our branding. All right. So remember, you're running your own race, and your journey is unique, and you don't have to worry about what other people are doing. What your focus needs to be is, am I making the money I want to make? And if I'm not making the money I want to make, what do I need to change, or what do I need to do differently? All right. The next excuse we are going to tackle is, I don't want to show my face on social media. Oh my goodness, how many times have I heard this? And I understand. I understand not everybody is comfortable putting themselves out there. And I understand that not everybody wants to be on camera. But the thing is as a business owner, you will have to promote your business or your brand in some way. That doesn't mean that you have to show your face, but it does mean that you are going to have to show up in some way, especially if you are doing live selling or if you're promoting your jewelry business on social media. Whatever you're doing, you're going to have to put yourself out there. Now, again, you may not have to put your face out there, but you will have to put your business out there, right? Because how are people going to find you? How are people going to find your amazing jewelry pieces so they can shop with you? All right, so get comfortable that, about putting your business out there if you're not comfortable being seen or um, being on camera. But I'm also going to challenge you to learn how to overcome the fear of being seen and learn how to accept yourself, so that way you have the confidence and you have the ability to show up when it's necessary, right? It doesn't mean you have to be everywhere, but there's a lot of inner work that I think goes along with that. When we have a fear of being seen, usually it's a fear of criticism, a fear of judgment. And so those are the things we really need to work on. Okay. And once you can overcome those things, then you are much more comfortable and in a much more stronger position to put your business out there so you can make the money you want to make. All right, the next excuse we're going to talk about is, I'm scared to niche down and lose potential sales. Now, I think this is kind of an individual thing as it relates to the type of jewelry you sell, what you want to sell, what you have access to as it relates to sourcing and inventory. Okay, so you don't have to niche down. Um, a lot of jewelry resellers have success niching down, but you don't have to. All right. Again, it's about structuring your business in a way that works for you. And I have found at one point when I was really cranking out my listings, and when my jewelry was at its, I guess, at its peak, I had focused on vintage jewelry and I found great success with that. All right. But that's not what I'm focusing on now. Now I focus more on just whatever I think people are looking for as it relates to trends, as it relates to styles, as it relates to design. All right. So you don't have to necessarily niche down, but if you want to niche down, that's great. All right. But it doesn't have to necessarily define your business or you as a jewelry reseller unless you want it to. All right, the next excuse we're going to talk about is, I don't have enough time to grow my business. All right, so this is an easy one. People make time for what they want to make time for. So if you're telling me that you don't have time to grow your business, it's because you just don't want to grow your business. All right, because remember, you make time for what's important to you, whether that's growing your business, whether that's working out, whether that's doing whatever else. You make time for what is a priority. So if you want to grow your business, you will figure out a way and a time to make that happen. All right. So we're just keeping it real here. So many people say they want X, Y, and Z as it relates to jewelry reselling, but yet they don't want to put in what it takes in order to have that. And this is going to take time, energy, and effort on your part. That's just the reality of it. I don't know any jewelry reseller who is at the top of his or her game who does not make time to do this on a consistent, in most cases, daily basis. All right. So think about that too. If you want this, you will find the time to make it happen. All right, the next excuse we're going to talk about is I've heard this one: I can't invest more money until I make consistent sales. All right, so this just goes down to having a budget and setting aside money for your business. Just like in your personal life, you have money allocated for certain expenses, it's the same as it relates to your business. You probably need to have, not probably, you definitely need to have a savings account for your business. You also need to budget money for buying inventory. So that way, when you do come across a good deal, you can take advantage of it. All right. Now, this is something I struggle with too, because I just have never been really, really good at this. I'll be totally honest. I've just never really been good at this. And so, sometimes I have a really nice, healthy savings for my business. And then, other times I don't. But this is something where it will only benefit you and it will only benefit your business, and it will enable your business to grow at a much faster rate. Okay, so think about the money that you're allocating for your business expenses, because I'm telling you, the time will come that you come across an amazing deal and you want to be in a position to take advantage of it. All right, so growth requires smart investments. Strategic spending now leads to bigger profits later. That's what I've got in my notes. Strategic spending now can lead to bigger profits later. All right. Here's another excuse I hear a lot: I don't know enough about jewelry to compete with experts. We kind of talked about that early. Remember, you don't have to be the, Wikipedia of jewelry. Far from it. You can learn on a piece by piece basis, or you can learn, at your own pace. All right. As long as you're willing to continue to learn and grow, you're in a much better position than a lot of jewelry resellers, because a lot of resellers don't want to do research or study or invest in invest in their education as it relates to jewelry. So don't worry about this. This is something that you will be doing forever as it relates to learning and education. All right, so you don't have to compete with experts. You really don't. All you need to do is make sure that you have jewelry pieces that people are looking for, and that you're knowledgeable enough to craft listings and descriptions that attract people who are looking for that particular jewelry. That's really what it all boils down to. All right, excuse. I don't even know what number we're on, friends. But the next excuse I have is I don't want to come off as too salesy. All right, so as resellers, you are in the business of sales, so you may as well get comfortable with it. And, I don't think that any of us really are salesy as it relates to resellers, because a lot of our sales are done online. And so it's not like we're really in a position to be pushy or aggressive as it relates to selling. Now, you can be that way on a live sale, where you can be really aggressive and really trying to make the sale. But in general, most of us are not like that. But remember too that you're providing value. You're helping people get exactly what they want. All right. And you're communicating that in a way that makes sense for your buyer. All right. That's not being salesy. That's not being pushy. And that's not really what our intention is anyway. All right. So get comfortable with being in sales, but you don't necessarily have to label it as being salesy. All right, so the next excuse we're going to talk about is I can't find enough inventory. Now, I know this is probably the biggest hiccup as it relates to what we do. And some of us really struggle with this, but I have shared in so many podcast episodes ways that you can navigate this, where to look for jewelry inventory. And it's just a matter of you being disciplined and consistent enough to find your best method of sourcing, or finding your best method of getting the inventory that you want. All of us have the resources and the accessibility, but not all of us have the same budget, the same, local spots. So this is something that you're going to have to figure out. And this is something that you're going to have to probably take some chances with in the beginning because, you're still learning. All right. This is also where it really helps to be connected to people in your neighborhood, maybe people who run estate sales, maybe certain thrift stores are willing to work with you, maybe certain auction houses, whatever, right? You're just going to have to try and try and try again until you find your best method of sourcing. All right. Opportunities to source are everywhere. So as long as you stay curious and open to new ways of finding, inventory, I promise you, you will find it. You will find it. All right. The other excuse that I hear is I'm not tech savvy enough. All right. Now, as it relates to live selling, yes, I understand this because there is a little bit of a learning curve when you're trying to do your first live show on platforms like Whatnot or Poshmark Live, wherever. But it's not impossible to learn. This is something, again, that just takes practice and determination and consistency. All right, so you will master the technology of being a jewelry reseller. I promise you, it's not as scary as maybe you might think. Because if I can do it and hundreds or thousands of other jewelry resellers are doing it every single day, I promise you can do it too. All right, it will take some practice, and you're going to have to understand that it may be something where it takes you a little bit longer to learn, but that's okay. Nobody's keeping track of that. All right, just keep showing up, keep doing it, and I promise you will get it down. All right, and this is another interesting excuse I hear a lot. I'm afraid of scaling too fast and losing control. Now, not everybody says this, but I've heard this a couple times where people are worried about, um, I don't want to sell too much jewelry because what if I can't replace it? Or I don't want to sell too much jewelry because I might not be able to consistently do that. Like they're afraid they're going to have like one big successful show or whatever, and then the shows after that are not going to be successful. And yes, all of that can happen. It could be overwhelming. It can be scary. None of us are able to predict the future as it relates to what we can and cannot do. But wouldn't you rather make the money and then, see what happens? At least I know I would. All right. Growth is manageable when you have certain systems in place too, right? So for the most part, we shouldn't be doing things that are just kind of a one off here and there. We should have a very strategic, systematic approach as it relates to running our business. It's not about doing things on the fly and hoping for the best, although I've done that. And let me tell you, it's not sustainable, right? And that also gives you the least amount of control. It gives you the least amount of control because you're just kind of guessing as you go. And maybe that could work once in a while, but if you want to make consistent money, you don't want to rely on that method. Okay. All right. The next excuse we're going to talk about is I don't know how to build a loyal customer base. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I'm going to tell you, you do. Because the answer to building loyal customers is you showing up consistently and always delivering the best absolute product and service that you can deliver. That's really it. That is the secret. All right. Consistency, authenticity creates a loyal customer base. And it doesn't mean they're going to buy from you every single time you list something or every single time you do a live show. But what it does mean is that people will trust you and they will continue to buy from you as long as you have something that they want. All right. So that's the secret to building a loyal customer base. All right. Here is another excuse that could be holding you back. All right. From making the money you want to make in your jewelry reselling business. And here it is. I don't understand the analytics. I don't understand analytics. I have heard that a lot. And it may not be that exact phrase, but people will say, "Oh, I don't know how to see my numbers. I don't know how to figure out my numbers. I don't know how to figure out what my fees are," and all of this stuff. All right. So, regardless on what platform you sell on, all of this is available to you. All of this data is available to you. All right. Whether it's eBay, whether it is Poshmark, whether it's whatnot, whatever the case may be, there is a place for you to see your analytics as it relates to what you're selling, what your fees are, and all of that. Okay. So you just need to learn, depending on where you're selling, where to find that information and then how to read it and how to study it and how to analyze it. Now, this is very overwhelming, especially when you get so much data that you just don't know what you should be looking at first. All right. But you also want to be keeping track of things on your end, right? So you always want to keep track of what your price per piece is and what your expenses are as it relates to running your jewelry reselling business. At the very minimum, you need to know that. That way, when you do sell your jewelry pieces, you can see if you really are making money, or if you're breaking even, or if you're losing money, which hopefully none of us are. Okay, so learn to study your analytics. Even if you just look at it every day, and you don't know what all the numbers mean, just checking in and clicking, every single day, because that's what I do, just to see what the numbers are, just to see what, the totals are as it relates to what I'm selling and the money I've made and all of the things. Just get familiar with looking at that screen, okay? Because you will indirectly kind of retain some of that information, and then it will help you when you refer back to it later. Okay, so this is something, again, it takes practice and consistency, which seems to be a running thread today as it relates to your numbers. Okay, so get comfortable learning that and get comfortable looking at that. I recommend on a daily basis, but at the very bare minimum on a weekly basis. All right. So, this is another excuse I've heard. This is the last one we're going to talk about today, and that is, I'm not creative enough to stand out in an oversaturated market. Now, we've talked about this before too, where yes, it is very saturated in the jewelry resale market. Yes, there are thousands upon thousands of us, but not everybody is necessarily performing or operating at the highest levels. Right. And the ones that are doing things very differently from the ones that are not. So, um, how do you compete? Even though technically, like I said, you're not really competing. It's about how do you position yourself as someone that is authentic and brings value and has something unique to offer, whether that be you, your personal brand, maybe it's how you show up. In social media, maybe it's how you run your shows. There's always something that will make you different and that will make you stand out. But like I've said before, it's your job to figure out what that is. All right. Authenticity is your superpower, and you need to tap into that in whatever way you can. You may be the most knowledgeable, you may be the most funny, you may be the most colorful as it relates to your personality, your style, just how you show up. Whatever it is, I'm telling you, there's something where you outshine everybody else, because we all have that. It's just a matter of whether or not we are willing to reveal that or use that to our advantage, especially in our jewelry reselling business. All right. So don't be afraid to use your unique voice and style to attract your ideal buyers. All right, so those are the excuses that I have heard over the years as to why people think that they can't do this or why they're not making the money, that they want to make as a jewelry reseller. But there's a couple of other things I kind of want to talk about too, because these are some things that I have learned over the years that have really helped me develop my business in the way that I believe is working for me. Because, yes, it's about having a profitable business, but it's also about having a business that works for you, that works in your lifestyle, that works with your personality, that works with your goals and all of the things that come along with that. All right. So, the first thing I want to talk about is to really think like a CEO and not a hobbyist. All right. Because there's so many people that do this for fun. And I get it because I do it for fun too. But if you're really trying to make money, then you're going to have to shift your perspective as someone who literally is running a corporation. All right. And I understand some of us, or maybe most of us, are wearing all of the hats and we're managing every aspect of the business. But you really want to treat your reselling business like a brand, and in some cases not a side hustle. Like, you want to make it your main thing. All right, depending on what your goals are, that's going to be how you're going to have to treat this if you want it to be something that literally takes care of you, or grows to whatever makes sense for you. All right. So you want to set growth goals. You want to track your progress, like we talked about, and you want to be constantly reinvesting in your business. All right. Yes, buying better inventory is one way, but also, do you need to start spending money to run ads or to promote your listings, or maybe getting a better camera so you can take better pictures, or a better phone so you can run your live shows a lot easier? Whatever you need, don't be afraid to invest in your business to make your business the best it can possibly be. All right, the next thing I want you to think about is um, curating your jewelry inventory and not just selling it. So, this will take time for you to learn. You really want to develop an eye for certain pieces and certain styles that fit your brand aesthetic, what your buyers are looking for, maybe the niche or the category that you're selling your jewelry in. Okay, so really learn to have um, a knack for picking out things that are truly unique. And again, like I said, this will take time. Like, when I'm out, I can scan a jewelry case and I can instantly pick up pieces that I know are interesting or different, or I have certain buyers that I know will want those particular pieces. All right. So be continually developing your ability to find jewelry pieces that are, yes, in demand, but like I said, also things that your buyers are looking for. And the more that you show up, the more you will learn your buyers and what their preferences and tastes are. All right. So you want to make sure you can deliver that. All right. So, shift number, or mindset shift. Number three is to focus on abundance and not scarcity and lack. Okay. So, when I say this, it's me telling you that there is so much jewelry out there. There really is. I know we think, oh, I can't find anything. Oh, I can't, find the stuff that I want to find. It's just a matter of you being more diligent as it relates to finding what you want to find. But I promise you, it's out there. There's a lot of jewelry out there. As a matter of fact, I remember months ago, I was talking to a lady and she organizes estate sales. And she was telling me, she said, there's so much jewelry out there. She said, but a lot of it never makes it to I guess, the mainstream market, because a lot of it just kind of bypasses that and it goes to big dealers and auction houses and stuff like that. She's like, but there's also a lot of stuff that they're not interested in, that people like me, jewelry resellers, individuals, would definitely be interested in, but she doesn't know how to find people like us, or she doesn't really have any relationships with people like me. All right. So when she told me that, of course, I gave her my number and all of that, but it just really made me think, there's so much, not only jewelry, but probably everything, jewelry, collectibles, clothing, whatever. There's so much stuff out there, and we're so limited because we only know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. All right. So we really need to expand our awareness as to the potential and the opportunity to find the jewelry that we're looking for. All right. So you want to use social media, live selling, and community engagement to stay, top of mind for people like that estate sale lady that I just mentioned. And don't be afraid to let people know what you're looking for. Now, because a lot of you know me from this podcast, and a lot of people do, a lot of people know me as the jewelry girl. But of course, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one out there doing this. But I have had some people approach me asking me to do big jewelry buys. I have had other people approach me wanting to sell on consignment, wanting me to sell their jewelry on consignment. All right, so let people know what you do because, I mean, obviously I'm not everywhere and not everybody knows me. And you could be the go to jewelry person in your circle, right? In your neck of the woods, in your city, in your neighborhood, whatever. Okay, so think about that. And this just kind of goes to what I said. The next shift is to be visible and vocal. Like I said, communicate what you do. And don't worry about people being nasty or negative because you're a reseller. I think that just kind of goes with the territory, right? They're not paying your bills, they're not running your business, and you need to do what works for you. All right. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one that matters as it relates to the decision making parts of your business. All right. It's what you want and it's what you decide. So always remember that. Okay. So we have talked about some of, or I should say, all of the excuses that I've heard over the years as to why you cannot be a successful jewelry seller, jewelry reseller. All right, we've tackled them all today. I hope that it's given you something to think about. Remember, um, working on ourselves is only going to improve us as business owners, as jewelry resellers, right? Knowing what our weaknesses are, knowing what our particular excuses are, knowing what our hangups, challenges, triggers, could be getting in the way of us having the business that we truly desire. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about this in the reselling community about really working on yourself, because when you work on yourself, like I said, it just helps you be a better reseller. It helps you be a better parent. It helps you be a better friend, like whatever. All right. And even though reselling is a business that kind of allows you to hide and, you know, hide behind a listing or not have to put yourself out there, I do believe that when you overcome some of those things, it just makes you more magnetic and it draws more people in and you attract more opportunities because you are willing to be open and honest and to connect and to engage with other people. I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. But again, focus on being the best version of who you are, and that will help you be a much better jewelry reseller. All right. And it'll take time. This is a journey that is never ending. So, um, none of us are going to get it all perfect. None of us are going to have all the answers. But I do believe, like I said, the more you can work on yourself, the better your business will be. And with that, friends, that's going to be the end of this particular episode. I would love to get your feedback and let me know your thoughts and what how you're feeling about some of the things I talked about today. I know I was probably much more direct and much more assertive than I normally am in this podcast, but I just wanted to communicate with you very directly. All right. Because sometimes people are not getting the results they want. And it's not because of anything outside of them. It's because, we have some things to work on, um, for ourselves. And we have to be realistic and honest about that. And that's really my intent with this episode. So, like I said, please give me your feedback. Let me know your thoughts. You can leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube, and you can also leave comments on Spotify. Or you can tag me on social media at Jewelry Resellers Podcast across all of the social platforms. And yeah, like I said, that's going to be it. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I will check in with you again really soon.